Welcome back to the Grand Solar Minimum. Today is Wednesday, October 10th, 2018. It's been a long day, guys. Let's get into some space weather here. Take a look at our solar wind speeds at 487.2 kilometers per second with a density of 5.8. Our sun is blank once again. This will make day number 5 in a row with 163 days without sunspots so far for 2018. Take a look at our KP indices. We are under storm conditions and a G1 once again for our atmosphere, which now this makes the third G1 storm that we've seen. Let's take a look at our SDO in motion, then we'll take a look at the KP chart. And we see another coronal hole that is beginning to work its way earth facing. This region right here should bring us another brief disturbance and some more solar wind. Now also, if you guys look off to the east here, we do look like we have a active region that we will keep our eyes on for any future development of a possibility of a sunspot. But other than that, that's what we got going on. We're currently in a G1 storm right now. Our TSI readings on October 1st, 2018 was a 1360.72. We'll be very curious to see the TSI on October 8th, 9th, and 10th. And let's give you the latest right now on Hurricane Michael moving through southwestern Georgia. Life-threatening storm surge. Catastrophic winds continue following the Florida Panhandle. Now, fortunately, I had a day off from my day job, so I was able to follow this storm all day long. And what was crazy to me was how many times that the meteorologist that was doing the daytime program was saying that he'd never seen a storm hold its eyewall like this one did, and how intense it was. Folks, I can tell you, watching it all the way when it made landfall at 150 mile an hour winds at a Cat 4, all right, just east of Panama City. This storm began weakening when we got the 4 o'clock advisory. It dropped down to 135, 130 miles per hour. Right now we're sitting at 100 miles an hour sustained winds as a Category 2, and this thing is already deep into Georgia, or I shouldn't say deep, but it has made landfall heading towards Albany, Georgia right now. Also other areas to kind of look out for. Let's move this over a little bit. Dawson, Morgan, Albany, Americus, Cordell. It is heading in that direction, bringing lots and lots of rain. And I went through and found a little bit of footage here from today's action. This was when the storm first came onto shore. We see the beginning of the storm surge. Earlier, I had Rob and a few others in our live chat when we did the update on the storm. And you know, the surge was minor. Things were just starting to begin when we went off the air at 12:25. But around 1 p.m. today, we did see landfall. Shortly thereafter, I could say. I can't give you the exact time off the top of my head. But some incredible footage coming in, folks. The storm surge definitely high. This looks at least 4 feet here, if not higher. This is Mexico Beach. And this was an area, then this appears to be at least 9 feet here in certain areas. Some houses are up to their roofs in water right now. One more footage I wanted to show you guys from today. Another before and after video. This person is taking shots before it hit, and then here we are, the storm's wrath striking at this time. And as we get a little bit further, we're going to see what the aftermath looks like once this storm is over. And you can see the water already overflowing the area here quickly too. But again, oppressive storm. We got to 150 miles an hour winds. The pressure dropped all the way down. Here's the aftermath. Look at this. Once the water started receding, this is a fast moving storm. When it made landfall, it was at 14 miles per hour. It sped up to 15 miles per hour. Right now it is going about 13 miles per hour at north-northeast with 950 central pressure right now. And earlier today when this made landfall, the pressure that we were dealing with was at a, now check this out. I saw this on spaceweather.com. Not spaceweather.com, Weather Nation. I'm sorry. I saw this on Weather Nation, but Michael was the third lowest millibar pressure. 919 was the third lowest pressure that had ever made landfall here in the lower continental. The number one was the 1935 Labor Day hurricane, but this one here is in the record books, folks. And it says here, Michael made landfall with a Cat 4 rating at the time. Surge with winds over 100 miles per hour, possible not just near the coast, but also inland, could leave some areas without power for over a week. And they're probably being optimistic with that. Here's the points. Michael made landfall near Mexico Beach, Florida, early Wednesday afternoon around 1 p.m. Eastern Time. It was the first Category 4 or stronger hurricane to make landfall on the Florida Panhandle. Catastrophic storm surge and destructive winds will continue as Michael moves inland. Over 1 million power outages will occur not just near the coast, but also inland. Rainland flooding is also a significant threat to inland into the Carolinas as well. So they're looking ahead, this potential rainmaker here, a short but sweet one, I should say, as it will move pretty quick out of the way. So we won't have any of that 20, 30 inches of rain. However, there will be spots that can see up to locally 8 inches. Now, by any means, is that good news, but it's a lot better news than what we originally thought when we heard that there could have been 12 inches locally falling in parts of South Carolina and North Carolina. Hurricane Michael's currently about 20 miles northwest of Bainbridge, Georgia, or about 50 miles southwest of Albany, Georgia, and is moving northeastward. It remains a Category 3. It is a Cat 3 at this point of this article. Now it is a Cat 2, folks. The winds have dropped about 15 miles per hour. It's a little bit closer to Albany than what this original story was. I'm just reading this from earlier. Right now we are at a Cat 2 with the mild winds at 100 miles per hour. It says an extreme wind warning has been issued until 6:30, which that is now expired. Taking a look at storm surges, about 7.7 feet was reported in Apalachicola, Florida on Wednesday afternoon, and it was reported nearly 5 feet of inundation above ground level early Wednesday. Cedar Key saw a storm surge of over 5 feet as well. It says here, observing site near Tyndall Air Force Base east of Panama City measured a wind gust to 130 miles per hour Wednesday afternoon, and a gust of 106 was reported at Port St. Joe. Sustained wind of 59 miles an hour with gusts of 74 was observed at University of Florida Weatherflow observing site just north of St. George Island late Wednesday afternoon. The Apalachicola Regional Airport measures sustained winds of 63 miles an hour with a gust of 89 miles per hour. You guys can see all the stats here on this article. I left the link in the description. But here is the track that we are expecting to see from Michael. It is not over. It is moving pretty fast. It has slowed just a little bit right now. It is only moving about 13 miles per hour to the north-northeast and is located right now 30 miles north-northwest of Bainbridge, Georgia. So this storm is moving along quite briskly. And with that, is part of the reason why these areas are still going to see tropical force or hurricane-like winds through South Carolina into North Carolina and tropical storm winds going out off the coast there in Virginia. But it's going to be a rainmaker, and it's something we're going to have to watch here. They're talking about some of the flooding here, the Tyndall Air Force Base River, 5 to 10 feet. Oskaloosa-Walton County line, 3 to 5 feet. So major flooding about to happen here on these coasts. Here's a list of the high tide like we announced earlier, looking at 10:30 here in Panama City for Wednesday night. Apalachicola, you've already had your tide, and once again at 4:48 Thursday in the morning. Cedar Key overnight tonight at 3:18 a.m. Thursday, and also for St. Petersburg and Tampa Bay, you will also have yours overnight tonight in the early morning hours of 3:09 a.m. So, there's the facts. Here's a look at our rainfall forecast. A lot of areas in South Carolina, North Carolina that's been flooded out already. looking at an additional 3 to 5 inches with some localized areas of 5 to 8 on top of some, gusty winds, sustained winds of 30 to 40 miles per hour with gusts near 60 miles per hour. So the ground is already saturated, if not still flooded. We're talking about downed trees, power lines possible as well. So this could be a very messy situation all up and down the coast from Georgia all the way through Norfolk, Virginia. Again, guys, we will keep our eyes on the situation as it continues. Something we've kind of watched today. Unfortunately, I had a little bit more time to follow this a little closely. But any way you want to put it, this store rapidly developed. I remember a couple days ago where we were looking at it and some people were kind of shrugging this off like, yeah, no big deal. Just going to be a storm. The waters are cooler near the coast, and they are, which really confused me as well. Where this storm intensified at was in cooler part of the Gulf. So the only other thing that I'd like to look into when it comes to the reason why we saw intensification right now is possibly connected through solar wind. We had solar wind storms on the 7th, the 8th, and right now we're in a G1. So I'd like to believe that with all that solar wind that our magnetic field has endured, those solar winds bring lots and lots and lots of energy. And that, to me, can only be the reason why this storm intensified as it approached land. Because let's face it, folks, 150 miles per hour landfall was the wind speed. Now, there's reports that says it was 140, but, for the most part, Weather Channel is the only weather channel I have my cable provider. I've watched it all day, and they've reported 150 miles per hour winds when this thing made landfall. So nearly a Cat 5 today. Impressive storm. Like I said, the central pressure dropped all the way down to 919 when it made landfall. The third lowest central pressure storm to hit the continental 48 in history. So impressive storm. Again, we will keep our eyes on it and give you an update. And moving on to other parts of the world, a 7.3 earthquake in Kimby, PNG here on thegrandsolarminimum.com. Just a little write-up here. An M7 downgraded from a 7.4. Other reports are saying 7.3 as well. Earthquake took place today, October 10th, 2018 at 2048 UTC in Kimby, PNG at a depth of 21 miles. At this time, the shaking is considered to be very strong with the possibility of damage. This time, there is no tsunami threat, according to the National Weather Service Pacific Tsunami Warning Center, EWA Beach HI. This is breaking news as we speak, and details are limited. We will update you when there is more available. Now, Mari, I know you had looked into it a few minutes ago. I hate to throw you under the bus and like this on the fly, but has there been any updates? Have you seen any reports of injury or destruction yet?
I love being thrown under a bus, Jake. Thank you. Actually, there was a report. There was a gentleman that was just outside the epicenter, and he said the nearby areas were out of power, yet his area was not affected damage-wise. However, the actual place where it hit inland, I think it was it Kokopo? Kokopo. I am so sorry, folks. It's been a long day. I am so concerned about this earthquake. I am watching it just like I did the 7.2 that hit, I believe, in February. The worrying part about this is it's rural. It takes time for the information to get through in PNG, and this was on land. And if you look on satellite imagery, there is a lot of developed areas. Just like the last earthquake in February, I suspect landslides, which may interfere with different riverbeds and cause flooding and a lot of damage. I am very worried about this earthquake. So as news creeps out, I will do a video and keep you guys updated on it. I have my eyes on this because my heart goes out to the people of PNG and everything they've been through recently with all these earthquakes. It's unreal, really.
And not just in Kimby, but we also had earthquakes around this area here. We had a 6.2 in Kokopo, as Mari just mentioned. We have 5.9 aftershock in Kimby, and then a 6.3 in Russia, which that's the last 2 days we've seen, and that's up here, folks. That's just recently. It just happened. That's the last 2 days we've seen earthquakes up there. Mari actually pointed one out to me not too long ago. And then a 5.1 just a little bit ago. So the Ring of Fire is very active right now. The 7.0 is now downgraded. It was a 7.4 to a 7.3, now a 7.0. And before that, we had a 6.0 in Bali, a 6.4. Aftershocks in Kirkarakia in the Solomon Islands, a 5.1. 5.1 in Prone Burma. So things are definitely kicking up. Papua New Guinea had an earlier earthquake of 5.3. So very, very active here on the Ring of Fire, and we will, again, like I said, just keep our eyes on this particular region as we are continuing to see earthquake activity. One more thing to note, by the way, on this 7.0 here in Kimby. It's worth mentioning that this particular area in Kimby, where this earthquake happened, happens to be an old, if not ancient, volcano. So very interesting to learn that through a GSM source, very, very, very trusted source. And here, these are actually showing the location on land. Earlier, some of these earthquakes were out in the water. So very interesting to see all these readings now up inland. Mari also pointed that out to me earlier, but there were some out in the water. There is no tsunami threats at all. In fact, some people were saying there was right after this, but they were very quick about this. 10 minutes after the earthquake, there was a threat, and then the threat quickly went down to no tsunami warning, advisory, watch, or threat. So that is a relief, and thankfully this time, canceling the tsunami threat actually meant that we did not have an actual tsunami like we did the last 7.5 that we had that caught everyone off guard in Palu. All right, so now we take a look at some other news. Oh, also, this was a 6.4 earthquake in Bali, in the Bali Sea that I was talking about. This one was off of land. A strong shallow earthquake registered. It was at 1844 UTC on October 10th, 2018. The agency is reporting a depth of 6.2 miles and is reporting USGS is saying this was a 6.0 with a depth of 10 kilometers. And you'll see all of the stats here, like always, from watchers.news. They do a great job of putting everything together, the location maps, giving you population maps, showing you where everyone felt this or where shaking might have been felt. What zones, approximate numbers with population. This one just looks like a moderate one. It wasn't very strong like the 7.3 that we had in Kimby. And taking a look here, at least 10 killed after massive flash flood hits Mallorca. 5 months worth of rain in 2 hours here in Spain. More than 9 inches fell on Mallorca. Wow, what is that? Let's just say this very nice place in Spain. Mallorca, Spain, Islands, October 9, 2018. You were in the camera. Did you say hello to everyone? You were like a prairie dog. It was cute. You know, peeping out of the hole. Here comes Mari. Okay. Anyway, average rainfall the entire month of October is just 1.7 inches of rain. The annual rainfall varies on the island across from 13.7 to 59 inches of rain in the high areas of the Sierra de Tramantre mountain range. Good Lord. However, most of the island receives between 455 millimeters and 650 millimeters, approximately 17 to 25 inches of precipitation over a year. Take a look at some footage here. Some unfortunate. It just seems like we're flooding everywhere. Here we are, Spain. We have Florida, soon to be Georgia, and scenes again, once again, from South Carolina and North Carolina will also emerge. And if that's not enough, guys, looking at our GFS forecast model, here we have our hurricane that's already currently in progress. By tomorrow morning, we have Sergio approaching here in the southwest. Once again, look at this. More rain for Arizona, New Mexico. More flash flooding on the way. So as Michael is making an exit, here comes Sergio. And this one's a fast-moving storm as well. Because by the time Michael's off to the ocean once again, Sergio will be in Arizona and quickly moving through to northwest New Mexico, and before finally weakening into the plain states and really not doing much else but retreating southward into Texas, as it seems like a constant of moisture will stay down in the south. But here's some good news, guys. After this storm Michael and Sergio, what's left of it, on Saturday, we start to see a pattern here. Some showers and snowflakes possible in the northeast over the next several days, actually, from Saturday on. But after that, really, we've got a quiet pattern here for the lower 48, thankfully, because it's been active. Now, the GFS is also showing a disturbance right around October 21st. That's something to keep our eye on, even if it doesn't turn into a hurricane. Still looks to be quite a bit of rain, and this thing is raking the East Coast like a nor'easter. So I kind of thought about this for a minute. Well, we've got the high pressure in the northwest way up high. We see the dip in the trough, and it goes not quite as deep as normal as we see these nor'easters ride. So, but very, very similar pattern to a nor'easter here from this low pressure system from the Gulf that will travel up the coast and give everyone plenty of precipitation. And temperatures also changing for the northeast as well. Not everybody's going to see cold, though, right now. But most of us here in the lower 48 will see fall-like temperatures, let's say that. And let me go back here. I'll start us off here. Let's go back to today's. So here we are. Here's Wednesday. Nice warm day here for the northeast, Ohio, North Carolina. Of course, you guys are dealing with all that southern moisture. But look at this. A cold front sharply going across the United States, dropping all the way down into Florida, Alabama, which is going to take some punch out of the storm at some point as it's exiting on Friday into the Carolinas and out to the Atlantic Ocean. And that's why it's moving so fast and out of off of inland, because this cold front is pushing it. By the time we get to Sunday, October 14th, there is the majority of the temperatures. We are in the 40s and the 50s for most parts of the northern United States. Montana, Minnesota, North Dakota, Wisconsin, Michigan, New York, Maine, most of New England, parts of northern Ohio. Temperatures in the upper 50s by Sunday, lower 40s in some spots, and then we see this pocket of cold air trying to push its way down into the northeast. And overnight Tuesday night, much of the nation is going to be feeling like fall, but we're still hanging on to the heat in the deep southwest. So California and Arizona still in the 70s and 80s. Not too bad, though, for this time of year. Overnight lows, again, dipping into the 30s and the 40s, and the really not warming up past much of the 60s in the middle of the country. But the northeast and the northwest are going to see a big difference in temperature change, and a consistent one at that. And even at the end of the month, we try to see a warm-up happen once again, but high pressure and cold air is once again trying to filter in the northeast and in the northwest. So we've got a lot going on. But if we get past this weekend, we will see a few days of drier conditions throughout most of the United States, and we need it with what we're dealing with right now with our current storm in Michael. And so we could use about 4 or 5 days of bright sunshine, because let's take a look at Michael one more time here before we leave the show tonight as it is approaching Morgan. There's still a minor eye in this storm, folks. Still a Cat 2. Still with winds of 100 miles per hour and a pressure of about 950 millibars. So moving 13 miles an hour northeast. I think that's all I got for tonight, guys. Mari, did you have anything you want to add before we left the show for tonight?
Pop up like a gopher. Like pop, pop, pop. Okay. I want to say happy birthday to a couple people. Give me a second. It's the Radical Gardener's birthday tomorrow, ladies and gentlemen. So everyone wish that lovely lady a really happy birthday. She's going to be 68. She just looks so youthful, and she's so spunky. I just love her. So happy birthday, Kate. We love you. And Suzanne just turned 66 on Monday, so happy birthday to you, too.
All right, that's going to do it for us tonight, guys. We appreciate you tuning in earlier today and also for this evening update. Stay with us tomorrow night. We should be back on live 9 p.m. Eastern Time. Until then, guys, please like and share, and we will talk soon. Take care.